My screen is visible, no?
Yeah.
Okay, this case presentation of cardiology case. 39-year-old Hindu gentleman by the name of Ravi Kumar, unmarried, resident of Chitradurga district, coming from low socioeconomic class, works in a bank, and the informant for the history was the mother. With chief complaints of breathlessness on exertion since 6 years of age, fatigue on exertion since 6 years of age, bluish discoloration of skin and mucous membrane since the last 5 years, and recently since 4 days with fever and cough. Going on to history of presenting illness. History of breathlessness on exertion, on running or playing with other children of his age, and on brisk walking for more than 200 meters or climbing 2 flights of stairs since 6 years of age. It is not associated with orthopnea or PND. Associated with fatigue on similar intensity of exertion. History of bluish discoloration of skin and mucous membrane, such as lips and tongue, for the last 5 years, which is similar in all the 4 limbs, and it is not altered by exposure to hot or cold temperature. Now complaints of fever, which was insidious in onset, intermittent, moderate degree of fever for the last 4 days, which is relieved by medication and is associated with mild cough with mild whitish expectoration. There is no history.
Go back. Go back. Go back.
Yes, sir.
That breathlessness, first paragraph. No, next.
This one, sir.
Yeah. When was that? What age?
His breathlessness history started at 6 years of age, sir. So since the last 33 years, he has it.
What age is he now? 33 years.
Right now, he is 39 years, sir.
So started at 6 years of age.
Yes, sir. Started at 6 years of age.
What was that grading of that NYHA? That first.
Sir, according to this, it would be NYHA 2, sir. Class 2.
NYHA 2. Okay. And fatigue was also there.
Fatigue was also there.
But bluish discoloration is last 5 years only, na?
Bluish discoloration only since last 5 years.
And fever now?
Fever is recent history, sir. 4 days.
Okay, fine.
There is no history of chest pain or palpitations. There is no history of nausea, vomiting, pedal edema, abdominal distension, or decreased urine output. No history of hemoptysis, presyncope or syncope or convulsions. No history of squatting episodes or cyanotic spells in childhood. There is no history of blurring of vision, any limb weakness, altered sensorium, or abnormal movements. There is no history of joint pain, hematuria, skin lesions, or blackening of finger. No history of lower limb ulcers or chronic headache. Past history. At 1 to 2 years of age, a local doctor noticed a hyperactive precordium in the child and had told the attendants that there is a heart problem that will get solved with age. There has been history of recurrent 1 minute, sir. There has been history of recurrent lower respiratory tract infections for which the patient required hospital admission 5 to 6 times in the last 5 years. In 2016, he visited a hospital for fever and cough where they noticed some changes in the nail and told him that he has either lung or heart problems. And then he was referred to KMC Manipal. In KMC Manipal in 2016, he was told to have a hole in the heart and told operation is not possible now. He was started on tablet assurance 20 mg twice daily, which after which his symptoms relieved partially. And every time he was admitted to KMC, bloodletting was done for 5 to 6 times in the last 5 years. Birth history. Parents had a non-consanguineous marriage. It was a full-term normal vaginal delivery, which occurred at home. There was no neonatal admission required, and the patient has been vaccinated for age. Maternal history during pregnancy, there was no history of hypertension, diabetes, or any cardiac issues. There was no history of fever or skin rashes, no infection during the pregnancy, and no history of drugs for seizures or psychiatric illness or any thyroid medications, and no history of smoking or alcohol. Developmental history, the patient's developmental history is normal. Sorry. And family history siblings, he has one younger sister and one younger brother, both of whom have no diagnosed cardiac disease. There is no other significant family history. Personal history: consumes a mixed diet. His appetite is normal. Bowel and bladder habits are normal. Sleep is adequate, and there are no known drug allergies.
Oh, can you go one slide back? Can you summarize the history?
So we have a 39-year-old gentleman who has symptoms of breathlessness and fatigue on exertion since the last 6 years of age, which has now progressed to involve cyanosis since last 5 years, with recurrent lower respiratory tract infections, and has currently presented with probable lower respiratory tract infection with fever and cough.
Okay. Your most important history is cyanosis starting at the age of 34 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you have a history of breathlessness and fatigue at the age of 6 years.
Yes, sir.
Do you think first that is important?
The first presentation of breathlessness and fatigue, at what age it started, could give us a hint regarding age of onset of the illness, sir.
Okay. So you mean that his age of his onset started at 6 years of age. Dyspnea and fatigue.
Yes, sir. It can help us differentiate congenital versus acquired disease, sir.
But you have a most important. Okay, what disease you are dealing with? Okay, just tell a cyanotic heart disease or a cyanotic heart disease.
Sir, to begin with, the disease was acyanotic, sir. But recently, in the course of illness, since the last 5 years, there has been cyanosis.
Okay, so you told the disease to begin with is acyanotic, and now from last
Yes,
6 years it is cyanotic. Okay, so what your statement means? What? See, in your exam you will get only maximum 2 or 3 types of cyanotic heart disease. So what type of cyanotic heart disease according to you is this?
sir, this, according to history, is most likely to be a ventricular septal defect,
No, no, no,
which,
no, 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 no. I mean, what type of cyanotic heart disease do you get in exam? Can you list all the types of cyanotic heart disease which you can get in your exam?
so cyanotic heart diseases could be tetralogy of Fallot, or it
Okay.
could be tricuspid atresia, Epstein's
Okay. Okay.
anomaly.
Fine. 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 1 minute. For you, for all practical purpose at MD level, you remember, keep at top physiology. Keep the word top and physiology. Okay. Now that
Okay.
after that there are some 9 to 10 types of TOF physiology. It can be anything. One is classical TOF. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
we most commonly discuss classical TOF, but other than that what you told is there can be, I won't go into detail, it can be TGA,
Yes.
CCTGA, DORV, tricuspid atresia, AV
TAP
canal
VC.
defect, है ना? So all are TOF physiology. We won't go into detail at this level, okay, because it becomes very confusing. What is the second group of diseases which you can get in exam, which you will discuss in exam apart from TOF? Eisenmenger physiology.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Eisenmengerization.
Okay. So second is Eisenmenger. What is the third?
Third, cyanotic heart disease.
which you may get in exam. You told na Epstein's anomaly.
Epstein's
Okay.
anomaly, yes, sir.
Okay. Fourth is
Tricuspid atresia, sir.
no. That are all in top
Change.
physiology. We
Okay,
won't.
top.
That is over. Fourth is
Sir, total anomalous pulmonary venous connections.
no. That and all. See, those type of thing can't survive to this age. है ना?
Yes.
So
Yes.
fourth is here I will discuss pulmonary AV fistulas. So they have usually they just present at young age without any cardiac other things. Normal cardiac examination, they just have a clubbing, they have a cyanosis, है ना? So that is fourth group of diseases. Fifth is hemoglobinopathies,
Okay. Yes.
sulfhemoglobinopathies and methemoglobinopathies. Okay. And last is
Okay, sir.
sometimes ASD with cyanosis, very rare those where ASD patient with a PFO, है ना? Or with
Yes, sir.
a primary pulmonary hypertension with a right to left shunt because of PFO can get cyanosis. Okay. So according to your history, what you are dealing with out of all this?
Sir, out of all this, since this patient began with a acyanotic heart disease, which has become cyanotic, it most likely is a VSD, which
No,
has
no, no,
now
no, no,
developed.
no, no, no. I am not asking VSD. I am asking what you are dealing with, Eisenmenger or a TOF.
Eisenmenger, sir.
Okay. So by now you are very definite that it is a Eisenmenger. Okay. Now can you tell the points for Eisenmenger in your history?
Sir,
Okay. You tell why
there
not
was
TOF.
no,
First
sir, to
you tell why not.
differentiate with
Yeah.
from
Tell me.
tetralogy, there was no history of cyanotic spells or tet spells in the childhood. And the age of presentation, currently the patient is 39 years of age. Uh,
So you mean TOF usually presents quite early by at least 6 months to 1 year of age, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the cyanosis will be from the birth or from 1 year, 6 months to 1 year of age,
From,
right?
yes, from 1 year.
It will be
From
a
1 year.
continuous cyanosis.
Yes.
Okay. Why do they are tetralogy of Fallot cyanotic at birth?
Not at birth, sir. It's, around 1 year of age, they develop cyanosis.
Why it takes so much time, 6 months to 1 year?
Because because the right ventricle is a compliant chamber, sir. So
No. Okay. So there are few reasons why they develop. There are few reasons why they are not cyanotic at birth. Okay.
yes, sir.
So few common reason is one is uh, adult. One is they have PDA. Okay, patent ductus arteriosus, which takes care. Okay.
Okay.
It closes by 6 months to 1 year. Okay. Second is fetal hemoglobin takes care. By 6 months to 1 year, all the fetal hemoglobin is replaced by adult hemoglobin. So fetal hemoglobin has more affinity for oxygen. Okay. Third
Okay, sir.
is dynamic RVOTO. The top of the RVOTO is dynamic. As the age progresses, the oxygen consumption, oxygen demand of the child increases, and the
Okay.
child overgrows the RVOTO size, and that is why initially they don't have. Okay. Fourth is respiratory centers are not well developed initially.
Okay, sir.
So these are the four reasons why they are not immediately cyanotic at birth, but it takes some time for them to become cyanotic. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So your important history, what you are telling is you do not have a continuous cyanosis. Cyanosis started at around 33 years of age.
Yes, sir.
Second, you told there is no cyanotic spells.
Mm, correct.
So what are cyanotic spells?
Cyanotic spells are during exertion, the child develops cyanosis, which is generally relieved by squatting, sir. Typically in childhood,
Actually, it cannot
first
usually, it can
5
be by,
years.
okay. It is not exertion, it is by feeding or by crying, है ना? Or
Yeah.
suddenly getting up from sleep, the child becomes irritable becomes cries and goes to limpiness, convulsion, coma, and even death. So these are the
Okay.
stages. So this is how a typical cyanotic spell it. It usually starts by 6 years of age and finishes by 2 years. Okay, 6 months of age. It starts by 6 months of age.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so before 6 months you don't get, and after 2 years usually you don't get, because after 2 years child adapts by something known as squatting equivalent. You told.
Yes, sir.
So there is no history of again squatting equivalent in this case.
Yeah, it's not there, sir.
So what are the various squatting equivalent? Squatting, like one is squatting. Okay.
Valsalva, sir.
No. Valsalva is not a squatting equivalent. Second is mother holds a child. Okay.
Mother.
So that mother holds the child so that the abdomen gets compressed.
Okay.
Okay. Third is standing on one leg with the leg folded.
Okay.
Okay. Sitting in the chair, cross leg.
Okay.
Or it can be prone position.
Heel knee position.
Yeah, heel knee position also. So what happens with all this position? One, what happens? Your venous return decreases, so your right to left shunt decreases.
Right to left shunt decreases. Okay, sir.
Second thing, your SVR, your femoral arteries are kinked.
Okay.
Okay, so your SVR increases. That is why left to right shunt increases and right to left shunt decreases.
Okay.
So these are the ways squatting helps in relieving cyanosis.
Sir, can you please repeat it, sir?
Yeah, so one is with all this position, there are two important mechanisms. One is your venous return decreases because femoral veins are kinked. So there is no blood coming to the RA and RV. So right to left shunt decreases. So cyanosis decreases. No, because an RV blood is not coming. So right to left shunt will decrease. Na?
Yes, sir.
Second is your SVR, because of the femoral arteries are kinked. Your
Okay.
SVR increases. And so your LV pressure increases. Huh?
Yes.
When your LV pressure increases, your left to right shunt increases. So the right to left shunt comes down. See, whatever cyanosis and cyanotic equivalent is because of the right to left shunt mainly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So whenever right to left shunt occurs, there is hypoxia and hypercarbia,
Yes.
which activates the respiratory center, which causes tachycardia, tachypnea, and the full cycle continues. That is how it causes cyanotic spell.
Sir.
Okay, na? So this is how. So you do not have a history of squatting equivalent. Any other thing why this is Eisenmenger and not a TOF? What is one important history in Eisenmenger which you get, which you do not have in this child?
Sir, it will present later in life, sir.
No, this child is present later only, na 33 years of age.
Yeah, that is in favor of Eisenmenger, sir.
No, history wise, why is this? There are points against. You told points for Eisenmenger. Is there a point against Eisenmenger? See, normally in Eisenmenger, for anything to Eisenmengerize, you have ASD, VSD, PDA. So the pulmonary blood.
RV failures are like
No, not
swelling
RV
or
failure. For any Eisenmenger to happen, you should have first increased pulmonary blood flow. Na?
yes.
After only the pulmonary blood flow increases, it becomes PAH, pulmonary vascular disease occurs, then you start getting something right to left shunt. Okay, na? So first
Yes,
there
sir.
should be increased left to right shunt in the childhood. So the child should give history of heart failure or recurrent respiratory tract infection in the childhood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that history in
That
childhood
was
is not
not
there,
there.
or
That only
maybe the
developed
parents.
later, sir.
Yeah, maybe the relatives don't know. Many of them don't remember. Right. So that history is important of recurrent respiratory tract infection.
Yes, sir.
So that is one thing which goes in favor of Eisenmenger. Okay. Now when you know you have Eisenmenger, you should decide by history you have a pre-tricuspid or a post-tricuspid.
This is post tricuspid, sir.
Why? What in history you have to tell that it is a post-tricuspid and not a pre-tricuspid?
Sir, because post tricuspid will present earlier in age, sir.
But this is late. Now, post-tricuspid usually present by second decade or third decade. You are almost presenting in a fourth decade, 35, 36.
Right, sir.
So if you go by history, it is a pre-tricuspid, na?
I'm not sure about that, sir.
Okay. So by usually the post-tricuspid starts early. Why? Because there is a direct communication between ventricle and the RV and LV, and all the blood directly the pressure is go through the RV, and so the PAH develops early. Whereas in pre-tricuspid shunt, the blood goes from LA to RA, RV. RV is a compliant chamber. First it dilates, and only once it's hypertrophies and fails, then you get a symptom. Okay, so it is usually in the third or fourth decade, right?
Right, sir.
Otherwise, by history, it is very difficult to tell whether it's a pre-tricuspid or a post-tricuspid.
Okay, sir.
Sometimes they say cyanosis is more severe in VSD as compared to other. है ना? PDA have less symptoms, means symptoms are less in PDA, but those are very relative. So you have to go only by the age of presentation. Okay, in history.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. You should only go by the age of presentation. This
Age of
patient
presentation.
presented to you at 33 years of age with cyanosis.
Yes, sir.
So it is more likely to be a pre-tricuspid by history.
Okay, sir.
Now again we go back to your first question is you told the symptoms at 6 years of age. Now is it relevant in your case? Can a Eisenmenger develop symptom at 6 years of age?
It is unlikely for Eisenmengerization to happen so early in.
No, Eisenmengerization can happen in VSD and PDA. Eisenmengerization happens very early by 2 years of age. We are telling the symptom onset. I am not telling the Eisenmengerization. Symptom onset starts by second and third decade. Eisenmengerization happens by 2 years in VSD and PDA. Okay, the pulmonary vascular disease starts by 2 years, but
Okay, sir.
they don't develop symptoms that early at 6 years of age.
Okay.
Okay, so that is something which you should know. Okay, now let's go to the back. Can you go previous slide? Previous slide. Yeah. No, next slide. Why is the history of fever important in this case? Next slide. Why is the history of fever important in this case?
History of fever. No, a history of fever could mean that there is because of the increased pulmonary blood flow, there might be
No, there is
increased
no increased
risk.
pulmonary blood flow. Now the pulmonary blood flow is decreased.
So, no, because of the VST, sir, there can be predisposition to recurrent respiratory tract infections, which would present with fever, sir.
No, why? See, you should understand one thing. Now that phase is over. It is the Eisenmenger now. In Eisenmenger now there is no increased pulmonary blood flow. It is all decreased pulmonary blood flow. There is all right to left shunt, no left to right shunt. That is the basic thing of Eisenmenger. It is a cyanotic heart disease with decreased pulmonary blood flow. So whatever was there, now it is all right to left. So there is now no more increased pulmonary blood flow.
So the other possibility with the background of heart disease could be infective endocarditis, sir.
Infective endocarditis in Eisenmenger, though not very, it's a rare thing,
Yes.
but still can happen. What is more common when you have a history of fever, headache, neck stiffness, altered sensorium?
Meningitis, sir.
Yeah, more likely they have brain abscess and all. Why? Because all the bacteria, they escape the pulmonary circulation from the right to left side, they go into the brain.
Yes.
Okay, and even meningitis is common, but brain abscess is very common. Infective endocarditis is not common, but not rare also, can happen. Other thing is they are immunocompromised and chances of developing infections are very common.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so history of fever is very important. This is with cough and all. So some form of LRTI. You are already told that he has a history of recurrent LRTI, because of which he was getting every time admitted. है ना?
Yes. Yes, sir.
We know that all these people are very immunocompromised, infection can happen. Now, what is the importance of this history? Go to the next slide. You told there is a history of hemoptysis, no history of hemoptysis.
Hemoptysis.
We know in valvular heart disease, hemoptysis can happen in mitral stenosis. है ना? Why in
Yes, sir.
cyanotic heart disease they are having hemoptysis?
I'm not sure about that, sir.
See, there are many reasons. One is they have collaterals. The collaterals can rupture. Okay.
Apoplexy, sir. Pulmonary apoplexy.
No, that is in valvular heart disease. Apoplexy, usually this is very less common. Pulmonary apoplexy is a term which we use in mitral stenosis. We don't use in Eisenmenger and all. But here also, as you told, the bronchial collaterals. There are various collaterals, direct, indirect, and bronchial. Because the patient has to survive now. How does the patient survive? All because of collaterals. But it doesn't happen in Eisenmenger. It happens in TOF. Okay, so in TOF, they have collaterals which can rupture. But in Eisenmenger, why do they have hemoptysis? So one is, these patients have abnormal hemoglobin level is too much increased. And a polycythemia and all.
Yes, sir. Because of hypoxia.
Yeah, that one that can cause. Second is they can have pulmonary infarction which can cause hemoptysis. Okay, because of polycythemia. Okay, and in
Okay.
Eisenmenger, there the bleeding, there are the plate clotting and abnormalities are there, abnormal clotting factors and all. Okay, then they
Okay.
can have thrombocytopenia and all that can cause, and infection itself can cause bronchitis and hemoptysis.
Yeah.
So these are the various causes of hemoptysis in Eisenmenger, and in TOF you can have collaterals which can rupture. We have already discussed convulsions and all can be because of brain abscess. But why did you ask history of blurring of vision?
Sir, because of the same, there can be hypoxia causing polycythemia, which can cause
Yeah,
hyperviscosity will lead to all these.
hyperviscosity. Correct. So why hyperviscosity symptoms are headache, blurring of vision, and all. And that is why he underwent bloodletting. So what is the indication of bloodletting in Eisenmenger?
Polycythemia.
No. All the patient you won't do bloodletting, no?
I mean, those I am not sure if there is any cutoff, sir, but those with symptoms of hyperviscosity should
if the
undergo
hemoglobin is more than 20.5 and
20 point.
hematocrit is more than 65, okay,
Okay.
hemoglobin is more than 25.5 or hematocrit is more than 65 and patient is symptomatic, then you have to
Okay.
do bloodletting. Okay,
Okay, sir.
right. So you have asked squatting and all we have discussed. Next slide.
Sir, there is no absolute cutoff for asymptomatic bloodletting. Like symptoms should
No,
be there.
you don't. For asymptomatic, there is no cutoff. See, you should remember any patient who has a hemoglobin 20.5 and hematocrit 65, and the patient has some symptoms. What you have to do is, not all the patient you have to do bloodletting. First, you have to send iron profile. If there is a iron deficiency anemia, even with polycythemia, you have to treat iron deficiency. You should not do bloodletting. Only if there is no iron deficiency, then you have to do bloodletting.
Okay.
Why? Because iron deficiency, if you do bloodletting, the chances of stroke is very high in Eisenmenger. Okay.
Okay.
So only if there is no iron deficiency, you have to do bloodletting.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Next slide.
Sir, this negative history for chronic headache is also for hyperviscosity, sir.
Yeah. Hyperviscosity or any history of brain abscess and those type of things. Meningitis.
Okay, sir. Okay. Next slide.
So you told the child had 1 to 2 years of age. Local doctor told hyperactive precordium. Now, what is the importance of that history?
Sir, hyperactive precordium would mean there's a chamber overload, sir, occurring early in the life.
See, it's a very important history. There was an increased pulmonary blood flow history. Hyperactive precordium means the pulmonary blood flow is increased.
Okay, sir.
Or the LALV is dilated that time. Hai means there would have been some large VSD or PDA. Hai and
yes,
at
sir.
that time, they told that it will get resolved with age. Maybe that thing was something which was very unusual. Correct? So that history you have to pick up. That
Yes,
history
sir,
was very
because
important.
yes,
Correct.
sir.
Next, he was cyanosis, bloodletting was done. What birth history is? Why antenatal history is important?
Sir, antenatal history is important because a lot of maternal illnesses can result in congenital heart defects, sir. For example, maternal GDM can result in endocardial cushion defects or VSD itself.
Maternal?
Sir, GDM, sir.
Okay, now diabetes. Yeah, maternal diabetes is important, very important. Hypertension, drugs like diseases like phenylketonuria, very rare but important. Those things you have to ask. Maternal smoking and alcohol you have to ask, because
Yes,
they
sir.
can cause fetal alcohol
Fetal
syndrome.
alcohol syndrome. Yes.
Last
Sir.
time we already discussed the drugs like phenytoin and valproate.
Lithium and phenytoin. Yes, sir.
Lithium can cause estrogen, progesterone, and vitamin A intoxication. So that is one thing important. Also, something which is not asked is your developmental milestones were normal or not.
Yes, sir. That is in the next slide, sir.
Right. And
Normal.
also important is your child was able to play with the peers of the same age group or not. Sibling history is important because once a history of congenital heart disease in the first sibling, then 5 to 10% the next child will have. Right?
Yes, sir.
So that history is important. And even in the parents, if the parents have a congenital heart disease, there are 2 to 3% chances that the child will have a congenital heart disease.
Okay, sir.
So this history is important. Okay, so you go to the differential diagnosis. We have discussed though, but you can go. So as I told you, for me, it is more likely to be a ASD from the history than a VSD. But I don't think so. You should keep a cardiomyopathy. No, nothing else should come. Where I don't know why you have kept number 2 and number 3. It is a big blunder with a cyanotic heart disease, keeping all those diagnoses.
Yeah, I've written not likely, sir.
No, it should not be in your slide only.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So it is mostly Eisenmenger, post-tricuspid more likely than a pre-tricuspid by history, because history only age of presentation is important, right? Why it is not Epstein's anomaly? I tell it is Epstein's anomaly. Why it can't be Epstein's anomaly?
Sir, there's no the evidence of heart failure, sir.
At this age, how will Epstein's present? 33, 39.
Intermittent cyanosis will
Present
be there.
only with cyanosis, sir.
They can have continuous or they can have intermittent cyanosis, right?
Continuous and intermittent.
Okay, but at this age, the Epstein's usually have palpitations and all because of atrial arrhythmias and all.
Atrial enlargement, yes, sir.
Yeah, so they have atrial arrhythmia. Because of that, they can have fatigue. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But the one thing which was very unusual is the child had again no history till 33 years of age of cyanosis. So very unlikely for suddenly Epstein to present. And Epstein do not have your hyperviscosity symptom. They do not need bloodletting and all.
Yes, sir.
Those answers you have to give. They don't need bloodletting. They don't have hyperviscosity. At 1 to 2 years, they won't have hyperactive precordium.
Okay, sir.
Right. So you understood that till now it is clear, na?
Yes.
Anybody has any question at this level can ask before we go to examination. Right. We'll proceed to examination.
Okay. General physical examination. Patient is conscious and oriented to time, place, and person. Fairly built and nourished. Height was 154 centimeter. Weight was 54. BMI was 22.8. Arm span was 152 centimeters, and height was 154 centimeter, with upper segment lower segment ratio of 0.925. Patient had central cyanosis with grade 3 clubbing in all the fingers. Conjunctival suffusion was present. There was no icterus, no pallor, edema, or lymphadenopathy.
What is grade 3 clubbing?
Grade 3 clubbing is the parrot beak appearance of the nail, sir, or drumstick appearance.
Pan digital clubbing, na?
Yes, sir. Pan digital.
What is the mechanism of clubbing? You know.
Hypoxia. Hypoxia, sir.
Okay, you tell first in this disease, in what we are discussing, what is the mechanism of clubbing?
Sir, because of the development of hypoxia, growth factors are activated like PDGF, which can cause.
No, not because of hypoxia. It is because they do not go to the lung circulation. They escape the lung circulation, and from the right to left shunt, they go to the systemic circulation. And all these things, Anna.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, and because of that, they do not go to the lung circulation. They got deposited in your finger beds and then release PDGF and all, which causes proliferation and clubbing. Okay. Next is your other theories like your idiopathic theory, genetic theory, ferritin theory, na? Humoral theory. So those are the other theories. But in Eisenmenger, this is what it happens.
Okay, so it's because of the shunt.
Yeah, sir. All these macrophages, they escape the pulmonary circulation, and from the right to left, then they go to the various places where they release PDGF and cause a clubbing, na?
Okay, sir.
Right. Conjunctival suffusion is suggestive of polycythemia.
Yes, sir.
And though there is not much the importance of arm span and all, but in some cyanotic heart disease, usually in cyanotic heart disease, both the both the height and weight are stunted. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Whereas in this cyanotic heart disease, the height is not stunted; it is the weight which is stunted.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
One thing. Yeah.
There are no features of dysmorphic facies, no abnormal hairline, and no abnormalities noted in the
But
spine.
you have to see the features of dysmorphic. You have written, but Which dysmorphic features would you like to see? Common ones.
Sir, low set ears for Down syndrome, low hairline for low posterior hairline for Turner syndrome, sir. There can be
You should tell not Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, and all.
yes, sir. Then there can be elfin facies, sir.
No, what dysmorphic features? What dysmorphic features? Yeah, tell. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
So dysmorphic features, facies as in what features in the face, sir?
Yeah. What dysmorphic features would you like to see? Suggestive of various syndromes.
Sir, for Down syndrome, there can be low set ears, sir, and that Mongolian eyes. Then there can be low nasal bridge
Yeah.
and
Epicanthal fold, hai na?
epicanthic fold, yes, sir.
Yeah, so all those things, simian crease, all these things. Similarly, all the thing with PDA, you have to see maternal rubella syndrome and all those things, hai na?
Yes, sir.
Cataract and all.
Deafness
So
and
all the
cataract.
syndromic things, you should know the definition clearly. Here is not much, so we'll avoid that. We'll go to the next slide.
Okay, sir. He's afebrile on examination. The pulse rate is 80 per minute. It is regular. And normal volume and character. There is no radial or radiofemoral delay. And the condition on of the arterial wall is normal. All the peripheral pulses are palpable. Blood pressure in both the upper limbs is 110 or over 70, and in lower limb 120 systolic. Respiratory rate is 18 per minute, regular, abdominothoracic type. SpO2 is 86% in all the four limbs. JVP is pulsatile. It is not traced 1 centimeter from the medial end of the clavicle in sitting posture with a prominent A wave.
Is the JVP over?
Yes, sir.
What you want to do? JVP is not raised.
So actually, we want to check for the hepatojugular reflux. So
Yeah, you should. When JVP is not raised, you should do hepatojugular reflux and see whether there is a rise more than 3 centimeter, which persists
sustained
even
rise
after.
of the release.
Yeah,
Yes,
so it will suggest of incipient heart failure, which may not be there, hai na?
incipient, right?
So yeah, and there is no BP difference. Your pulse is also totally normal. No fever at now.
Yes.
Okay, na? Yeah, fine.
Cardiovascular examination, inspection and palpation. There is no precordial bulge on inspection. The and chest is normal in shape. Apex beat is seen in the left fifth intercostal space at the midclavicular line. RV type apex, and it is diffuse. There is a grade 2 parasternal impulse at the lower left sternal border, which is in continuation with the apex. Epigastric pulsations are felt, and there's a palpable P2 in the left second intercostal space. No other impulses, scars, or sinuses or dilated veins are present, sir.
So at the end of palpation, what is your diagnosis?
At the end of palpation, there are signs of RV enlargement, sir. So, RV enlargement is causing a RV type apex. The apex is shifted laterally, but not out, but not down. And there are parasternal impulses which are
How do
in
you know it is
continuation with the
RV type?
apex.
How do you know it is RV type?
Sir, it is diffuse. It is shifted out, and lateral retractions are present. Will be there, sir.
Lateral retraction, and it will be continuous with the parasternal hue.
It will be continuous with the yes, sir, apex.
And there are epigastric pulsations also, which suggest that there is
Epigastric
RVS.
pulsations. Yes, sir.
So what all you inference will you do at the end of palpation?
Sir, there is a right
Will it help in
ventricular
your
enlargement
now you are
with
will it help in your
pulmonary.
diagnosis between a pre and a post tricuspid till now? What all things now will help you a diagnosis between a pre and post tricuspid at the end of palpation?
Can't differentiate, sir.
Why? So many things are there which can differentiate.
So there
Okay, go
is
back.
a palpable
Go
P2,
back.
which would be
Go back.
suggestive of pulmonary hypertension, sir.
Go back. See, you have a go back. Go back.
More.
Yeah. You have a pan digital clubbing. Will it help or no?
Uh, Clubbing because of that is suggestive of Eisenmenger syndrome, sir, because of the shunt.
No, what? No. Very important thing you're missing. Pan digital clubbing you have. What does it rule out? Though not always, but what does it rule out most of the time?
It rules out patent ductus arteriosus. Sir.
Right. You have a differential clubbing in PDA.
Yes, sir.
It's not always true. In 60% of the time, you get a differential clubbing. Not 100% of the time. But in exam, if they ask, what do you rule out? You rule out a PDA.
Yes,
Okay,
because
na?
it will cause more in the upper limb and not in the lower limb. Sir.
Correct. So that is one case where you get differential clubbing. Where do you get reverse differential clubbing, you know?
So reverse differential clubbing can be seen in a PDA with coarctation, sir.
PDA, coarctation with PDA with reversal of shunt. And
With reversal of.
TGA, DTGA with PDA with reversal of shunt.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are the two conditions which cause reverse differential clubbing and cyanosis.
Yes, sir.
But this is one thing. Now you are between a ASD and a VSD. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next slide. Does your JVP help in differentiating any pre and post tricuspid shunts?
In VSD, sir, actually, we should get a prominent V wave.
Why?
Sir, ASD should have a V equal to A at least.
See, in no, that doesn't happen in Eisenmenger. See, in Eisenmenger, your ASD is more likely to have a high pressure. See, normally in Eisenmenger, what happens? Your systemic and pulmonary pressure almost becomes equal. But in ASD, your RV pressure is suprasystemic. So if you have a BP of around 110, your RV pressure can go to beyond 110. But in VSD and PDA, that can't happen. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that is why even if JVP will be mostly normal, but even if it is raised, it will be raised in ASD and not in VSD and PDA.
Okay, sir.
Okay, because your RV pressure cannot go beyond the systemic pressure in VSD and PDA.
Sir, but because of increased filling, we will not get the V wave in ASD.
No. Any V wave is suggestive of failure, RV failure, which is again more common in ASD because RV fails mostly in ASD because of suprasystemic pressure.
Okay, sir.
But most commonly, you do not get a prominent. You can get a prominent AVO, but JVP is usually not raised in Eisenmenger syndrome. Okay.
Okay.
Similarly, your other things may not help. Pulse and all may not help in here. Okay. Next thing. Next slide. Yeah. Now, by your apex bit, you cannot differentiate because all the Eisenmenger will have a RV type of apex. But what will help you in differentiating is a parasternal heave.
Yes, sir.
Because ASD has suprasystemic pressure, you will get almost grade 3 parasternal heave.
Okay, sir.
Similarly, if you have a cardiomegaly, which is not there in this case, if you have a cardiomegaly, it goes for a ASD and not for a VSD and PDA, even on a chest X-ray. If Eisenmenger patient has a cardiomegaly, it goes for ASD because they have suprasystemic pressure and cardiomegaly is more common.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So these
Yes.
are the various ways you can differentiate. So here you have grade 2 by 3. So more likely to be a VSD and PDA rather than a ASD. But
Yes.
you have definitely features of PAH like palpable
P2 is
P2,
there, sir.
parasternal hue. Okay, na?
Yes, sir.
But you do not have a thrill.
Thrill is not there.
How do you get the thrill in Eisenmenger? No, it is not common. Eisenmengers normally do not have thrills. Okay. Hello.
Just 1 minute, sir. On percussion, sir, the upper border of liver dullness is in the right fifth intercostal space.
Can you?
The liver span is 6 centimeters. Stomach tympani is normal in the left sixth intercostal space. Left heart border corresponds with the apex, and the right heart border is substernal. And the left second intercostal space is dull on percussion, sir.
So why is percussion important here?
Sir, percussion, first point for liver dullness and stomach tympani to establish the situs, sir, that it is levocardia with situs solitus. Left heart border and right heart border can be, if for if it is the right heart border is not substernal and it's in the right parasternal area, that could indicate right atrial
But
enlargement.
most of the time in Eisenmenger you should have an enlarged RA, na?
Yes, sir.
But here it is not there. And
Yeah,
left
it's
second intercostal space is dull.
Yes, sir.
So that is obvious because you have a PAH.
Yeah, PH, sir. Yes.
Okay, fine.
On auscultation, first heart sound is normal, and second heart sound there is a single loud S2. There's no S3, S4 or any opening snap. And there is a ejection systolic murmur grade 2 by 6, which is high pitched, short, crescendo decrescendo, mid systolic, best heard with the diaphragm at the second left intercostal space, and it is not radiating to the carotid.
So by auscultation, what is this murmur? What you are telling?
This is probably a flow murmur, sir, at the pulmonary area.
Okay. So at the end of your auscultation, now what is your diagnosis? Means what do you rule out or what do you rule in by auscultation?
So there's in pulmonary artery arterial hypertension is present.
No, auscultation.
And there's no, we can rule out ASD, sir, because there's a single second heart sound.
So yeah, even in ASD, even after Eisenmengerization, the wide and fixed split remains wide and fixed split. Though it becomes little narrower, it's still wide and fixed. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you are now left with a PDA and a VSD.
Yes, sir.
So
PDA,
what is this PD?
we can rule out, sir, because there is no continuous murmur.
What? Why you will get a continuous murmur in Eisenmenger? In Eisenmenger, you do not get a continuous murmur. Patient, you have already a severe PH. You do not no longer get a continuous murmur. See, the one of the basic thing about Eisenmenger is all the murmurs which are there of the identifying the disease like a ESM and MDM of ASD, pansystolic murmur of VSD, and continuous murmur of PDA. You will never get those murmurs will go off.
Okay, sir.
So you may get a flow murmur which you are getting. That is also not very common, but you may get a flow murmur. Okay. Important thing is you are getting a single S2. So what does that tell? Single S2 loud tells it is a VSDA, not PDA. In PDA, you get a fused S2. You may still be able to get here A2 and a P2, but it is almost fused. But for all practical purpose, by auscultation, it is very difficult to differentiate a single S2 and a fused S2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can still have a VSD and PDA. Important point in differentiation is you do not have a pan digital clubbing. You do not have a differential clubbing.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, so that rules out PDAs.
That almost in this most of the time it rules out a PDA.
Yes.
But what is the most common murmur you get in Eisenmenger? It's not the ESM, it's the PR murmur. It's the Graham-Still murmur, which is more common.
Okay, sir.
Okay, a pulmo, which you get in almost 30-40% of the cases.
Okay, sir.
So a ESM is less likely, a PR murmur is more likely. Frills is not a common feature of Eisenmenger.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you can tell the diagnosis.
The diagnosis, congenital heart disease, cyanotic, ventricular septal defect with Eisenmenger syndrome, with PAH, severe, with heart failure in NYHA2 class, with no evidence of atrial fibrillation or infective endocarditis, with lower respiratory tract infection.
All right. So you should also tell situs solitus and levocardia. Your first line should be situs solitus levocardia in all the cases in congenital heart disease. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Second will be cyanotic congenital heart disease. Better you write post tricuspid shunt.
Okay, sir.
And then write mostly VSD with Eisenmenger.
Okay, sir.
In all the Eisenmenger, it is better you avoid to write severe PAH because it is invariably it is an obvious thing that
Yes, it will be
Eisenmenger
present.
does severe PAH. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You should write in heart failure you have written, but I don't think so. There is heart failure. I don't know why you have written heart failure.
Sir,
Why you-
what two symptoms he had?
What?
Dyspnea and fatigue, sir.
Dyspnea is not a symptom. Heart failure, the evidence should be bilateral basal crepitations or a raised JVP. Do you have those, or a orthopnea or PND?
Yeah, no, that's not present, sir.
Dyspnea in PAH is not a symptom of heart failure. Any PAH can have dyspnea because of ventilation perfusion mismatch, or because of severe RVH, or because of low cardiac output, or because of, I told, the RV shifts the septum towards the left side. LV cardiac output comes down. That causes dyspnea. So it is not a symptom of heart failure. Unless you have a basal crepitation, raised JVP, or orthopnea PND, it's not called heart failure.
Okay, sir.
Okay. You should also write in your this thing hyper viscosity because you have a recurrent bloodletting.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any doubt before we go to ECG and chest X-ray?
And one of the slides written JVP not elevated.
Hello.
Sir, Tanmay.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. One doubt, sir. In one of the slide, it was written that JVP is not elevated, but it was written that in the sitting position, it was 1 centimeter above the clavicle. So, sir, when do we say in a sitting position
See,
that
any JVP in sitting position is abnormal, but something which is seen at the base of you have supraclavicular fossa. If you are seeing there, it is still normal. It is almost 1 centimeter, which is taken as a normal. That much JVP will be there in sitting position. Anything which is more than around 2 finger flaps or which is seen in the neck is abnormal. Anything? No, na?
Sir, you mentioned about symptom onset in Eisenmenger. At what age does it come, sir? Can you repeat that?
The mean age of onset in VSD in PDA is 19 years. VSD is 22 year and ASD is 35 year. Remember that VSD and PDA comes the earliest, second decade. PDA comes third decade and ASD comes in the fourth decade.
Yes, sir.
And it is everything has to do with the RV compliance.
Okay, sir.
Okay, we'll go to X-ray.
This is the ECG of the patient, sir.
Yeah.
It's a standard 12 lead ECG. Heart rate is around 80, 85 to 90, sir, in this. It shows there's evidence of biventricular enlargement,
What
sir.
is the
In this.
axis?
Axis is, there's a left axis deviation, sir. Lead 1 is almost isoelectric, and lead 2, 3 and AVF are negative. AVR and AVL are positive, so it will be around minus 90 degrees, sir.
Why minus 90?
Sir, because lead 1 is isoelectric and AVR and AVL are positive, sir. So it will be in that quadrant.
Anyway, somebody who is very basic to ECG should know that lead 1 is isoelectric. So because lead 1 is isoelectric, lead AVF is perpendicular to that. We should see the perpendicular to lead 1. And lead AVF is perpendicular and AVF is fully negative. So
Yes,
it
sir.
is minus. So you have to see minus 90, right?
Yes, sir.
So somebody who do not know what you are telling is, that is the third step what usually you are telling. So that is little bit more advanced level. So if you are not able to know, you should first be able to tell whether axis is normal or abnormal. If lead 1, lead 2, lead 3 all are positive, then it is usually a normal axis. If lead 1 and AVF goes in opposite direction, it is left axis. And if lead 1, overall forces of 1 and AVF are same direction, it is right axis deviation. Otherwise, you should see which is the most equivocal lead, equiphasic lead. Here, the lead 1 is equiphasic because equal positive and negatives are there. Then we should see the lead which is perpendicular normally in the nth ones, which is perpendicular to 1, which is AVF. And then
Yes,
we
sir.
should see it is full positive or full negative. Here it is almost full negative.
Almost
So
fully
you can
negative.
take it as a minus 90 degree.
Yes, sir.
Right. Then
Then moving on, sir, to the